episode 168 of the Hoots podcast. It's Thursday, August 15, 2019. Hope you guys having a wonderful week. My name's Joshie. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Hoots podcast. I am alongside the Clown Prince of all the podcasting channels, the one and only Adam Daley. What's going on, man?
Josh, what's up, brother? I hope everyone out there is having a great day, great weekend, whatever day you're listening to this. Yeah, man, that's what I got.
By the way, folks, I hope the audio is coming good on my end. This blue microphone that I've been using for the past year just decided that they wanted to crash on me before we recorded the show today. So hopefully I'm coming through good, and just hit me up in the comment section if you hear anything different. All right, guys? Anyways, on today's show, we got a lot to get to. Recap the crazy weekend in Toronto for NXT TakeOver and SummerSlam. Also on the show, we have Through the Eyes of the 9-Year-Old, the most popular and most requested segment in all of pro wrestling, podcasting, just in general, sports entertainment podcasting. I mean, it's hard catching of what people want to call what these days without somebody else getting offended by it, you know?
Right. Exactly.
Anyways, really quick, for those who are new to the show, please subscribe to the channel on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Tell a friend about the show if you like what we're doing here. Just tell a friend about the show, and we deeply appreciate it. And secondly, just want to give a shout out to all of you guys who've taken the time to check out any of the G1 articles I did this past month. It's really appreciated. I finished the tournament last Monday. These last, 5 to 6 days have been kind of a whirlwind for me. Just trying to catch up with all the articles I did, and then I had a job interview on Tuesday while still doing my shifts at the tattoo shop. So yesterday I was telling Adam about this. I was mentally fried, but I'm ready to rock and roll today and ready to put on another good show for you guys.
I had an interesting week. No, I love this. I love the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania every once in a while. Yeah, I don't know. We'll leave that one for a different podcast at a different time. But we'll just say that I love our medical system here in this state. It's fantastic. The resources that we have, and how, although it's not as progressive as some would like it, I do like the fact that medically, my doctor has chosen a very, I think, a proper future for my care.
Right.
People can read between the lines there.
So,
weed cart.
Before we get into the wrestling stuff, was there anything else like entertainment or sports wise you wanted to bring up really quick?
I wanted to bring up, obviously, the Tool has on Billboard's what do they call it? The digital downloads. They have all 10 top songs and 15 out of the top 25. I just wanted to make sure I brought that up, since you guys have had to listen to me shamelessly pander to Tool and the Tool army here for the collective unconscious here for the past couple weeks. I hate to say that I told you so, but you can fill in the blank there. Guys, if you are not watching this, and this is something that I stumbled across over the weekend, but if you guys have the channel Viceland, I believe it's called Viceland, look for a show. It's on YouTube as well. It's called Action Bronson Watches Ancient Aliens. And it's just Action Bronson, if you know who he is. The Alchemist, if you guys know who he is. Some other people they call and friends, and they always have guests on. I'm tying this into wrestling because 3 different episodes I watched. Scott Hall was on an episode. Sabu was on an episode. And Rob Van Dam was on an episode. I just hang out with Action Bronson and watch Ancient Aliens. It was hands down the greatest find that I came across in a long time. Like, to the point that I'm addicted to this show, man. I'm just rifling through seasons right now. It's on the 2nd season, but if you guys do get a minute and you're of a certain humor, it's perfect for you. So
I have something music stuff I'm gonna leave towards the end of the show for you guys to check out. Really quick from an entertainment point of view. I'm getting a kick out of Hard Knocks. I wouldn't think I'd be this invested into the Hard Knocks season. I haven't. I think the reason why maybe I didn't watch the previous seasons were because I had a lack of interest in the certain teams that they were focusing.
Yeah, I never watch it.
Usually, it's just the teams that are in last place or high in the draft.
That's us.
Rarely do you have featured teams that are in the playoffs. They give you behind the scenes and what's going on with their.
Definitely not us. We don't fall into that category.
And definitely, we'll never see a New England Patriots team on Hard Knocks. So,
you never know. As Josh Abrams said, he's older than my daddy. I think I'm older than Josh Abrams' daddy.
Yeah.
So, Josh, I wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit about Hard Knocks.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love John Gruden? 10 or 10 million?
Can 10,000 work or no?
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, I'll go with 10,000. I always been a fan of John Gruden. I never really had an axe to grind with him. I know he could be over the top at times.
Should be.
John Gruden just reminds me of a couple of uncles I've had that just blare out F words and every curse word in the dictionary before they finish a sentence. That's what I get out of John Gruden. That's what he reminds me of. I just love the parts where he's like shooting out the quarterbacks, and then later on he's like, "Man, I'm sorry for being a dick. I know I'm a dick." At least he owns up to it. So
it's been a cool watch. I was gonna say it's been a cool watch so far.
Yeah, it's a very interesting team, and there's a lot of drama going on with Antonio Brown. He has his messed up feet that he got from doing cryotherapy. And then he's going at the NFL because he's not allowed to wear a certain helmet that he wants to wear that he wore in Pittsburgh, and just a lot of media outside noise that was really featured in the second episode this week with Antonio Brown, and you can see like how depressed John Gruden was to not have Antonio Brown there. Whenever like parts of practice was going slow or lethargic offensively. And as a Bears fan, it is very interesting to see Mike Glennon out there because he had the same demeanor when he was our quarterback.
Oh, was he your guys?
Yeah.
I didn't know where he came from.
Mitch is the guy who replaced Mike Glennon when he was on the Bears a couple years ago. So it's very interesting group of backcourt quarterbacks. You got Mike Glennon and Nathan Peterman, who everybody loves to trash. For the Buffalo Bills. So I thought that was very interesting. I'm not a Jonathan Abram guy. I'm just going to be upfront and honest with that. Like we said last week, this dude better be Darrelle Revis, Troy Polamalu, Ed Reed, et cetera, with the way this dude runs his mouth.
I'll keep it a la Quippa. This dude better be Darrelle Revis and Tyler wrapped in one for how much he's running his mouth.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I'll admit, one of my favorite parts of the Hard Knocks show, it kind of reminded me of my playing football, high school football, was the I forgot the name of the coach's name, but the D-line coach that was going off on the rookies and this and that.
It wasn't Brenston Buckner, was it?
Something like that, yeah. He was saying that this game is not about excuses. You got to execute and do your job. And it just reminded me of off-season programs and stuff that I did in high school. I played 3 years of high school football, for those who don't know. I was a defensive end and left, or they called the will linebacker in defense. And then occasionally I'd be an offensive guard. So that's my football background for anybody that wants to know.
Here's my football background. I played high school baseball, never played football, and got recruited to play football for a little college called Teal College. Did win a game for like 5 years. They were like for like that decade. And it's like, nah, I think I'm good not playing. I mean, it's nice to know at least a winless team needs me. But but yeah, I wasn't. I think I skipped that.
Were you never interested?
Not really. No, I mean they wanted me to play every year and play corner. But I was playing baseball like 11 months out of the year. I went out to play fall baseball and that kind of stuff, and all that kit and caboodle. But I know A-Rod's probably enjoying Hard Knocks. I want to give him a shout out because I saw him meeting the infamous KO too. So it was cool for him, I'm sure. But here's one thing I'm taking away from Hard Knocks, man. I think that you can hear it in Gruden's voice that without AB, we're screwed. We're not there. I have us going 8-8, but we're not there. And AB's injury is one of them freak things. It really isn't his fault. I mean, people, and I do think the helmet thing was just more of a distraction. I think it was total kayfabe. I mean, I think everyone was kind of in on it. It's not like he was the only player that was using that helmet. Brady was using it. Aaron Rodgers was using it. Them guys had to change over too. So, he wasn't the only guy. But fortunately, he was the one that was hurt, and he's the one that could easily be used as the scapegoat for players that were, were unhappy with that decision. So I don't think there was. I think we like to look at these little things and make them a bigger issue than what they are. I'm sure it's for the team it wasn't but as long my thing is I really looked at that Max Crosby dude. I really liked his mindset and mentality of he broke his hand, he stayed in the game, wasn't really focused on didn't pay attention to the distractions, only cared about him in that moment, what he could do for his team, his teammates. That's the kind of mentality that I love to see. When it comes to young players. So I think overall, we're going to be in a much better place than we were last year. It's hard not to when you're 4-12, So I think we're going to improve slightly, but it's I think it really for us it depends on whether or not we have Antonio Brown or not. But I don't get. There's not one person listening to this, especially in the United States, that follows the NFL. I mean, the rest of the world. I don't want to speak for you guys because we're probably just a circus sideshow as far as the NFL goes. But you cannot have the best receiver in football and not think that he's not going to improve your team somewhat, So his feet are looking rough.
I really like the feature they did on the rookie wide receiver Keelan Doss.
Yeah.
It's just like one of those under the radar guys that always finds a way to break out in camp and not really egocentric dude. Just like the little sidebar conversation he had with John Gruden, I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have two questions I wanted to ask really quick because this episode was really featured with the joint practice that they had with the Rams and the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
First question: do you get a pretentious vibe from Sean McVay?
I don't want to say pretentious because I think a lot of times people are misunderstood. Like people think Belichick's pretentious, but I find it hard to believe that anybody that will go on tour with Bruce Springsteen for a couple weeks every year is that pretentious of a dude. I mean, perception is reality. So what you want people to perceive of you, that's your football persona. So maybe that's what he wants his football persona to be. I don't get pretentious though.
Maybe not pretentious. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I just feel like he's living up I'm the coach of an LA team. It was weird.
Maybe. I mean, younger guy though. So I mean, I think we're gonna get that with any young coach. Maybe. Maybe it's because he's coming off of going to the Super Bowl. He's still probably feeling that glow kind of thing. I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard to pinpoint because the people that we think are probably extremely pretentious sometimes are just a little socially awkward. I think this dude's just a football dude. I think he's a straight football mind. Like, I like McVay. I'm not a Rams fan by any means, but I think McVay's he's a good football head.
I thought every time you have these football shows, you can't go without fights happening, and then you got Aaron Donald. This dude got a shitload of money last season, and then he's still fighting dudes just for the hell of it.
Mm-hmm.
I love football. I am a football junkie. I think we established that here on the show before. Football is my favorite sport, and I'm so glad that it's back. Not only for Bears reasons, but just I've always been a big NFL fan. Not to the point where I'm going to be obnoxious and just be a troll. I don't see the point of that. I know it comes with being a sports fan that there's a trolling nature at times when it comes to certain teams or players.
There doesn't have to be though. It's people satisfying their need to want chaos in their life. That's all.
One thing I do think is certain that John Gruden has the axe to grind with the media people that's gone after him last season.
Absolutely.
I feel like he has like revenge just like put in his office or something. I feel like remember the first episode he's like, this ain't about dreams. He wants nightmares and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like he wants the team to hurt people.
He wants them to play with a chip on their shoulder. Listen, we have not been good for a long, and we're too storied of a franchise to be this pitiful for as long as we've been. We have a quarterback that really hasn't lived up to the hype, sort of, kind of, but not really, you know. We have now a coach, and we've signed a lot of free agents to where this team should be gelling and clicking a little bit better. You know, the Brown injury, you know, as freak of a nature as it is, you know, it's kind of putting us behind the 8 ball early. But yeah, man, I think it's one of those where if you got to get in these players' heads that, you know, we're not the Oakland Raiders that you know. We want to be the Oakland Raiders that your dad knew. You know, that's the difference.
Yeah. Tonight there's some football games going on. I think the Bears are on NFL Network tomorrow night playing against the New York Giants. So we'll see if Eli Manning graces us with his presence. Probably not. One thing I'll say, this is just a general view, just from my observations on social media, this and that. Folks, can you like chill out with overreaction with quarterbacks throwing interceptions at practice and training camp? Like, that's the point of it. You're trying stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had this thing. Oh my God, Jimmy Garoppolo threw 5 straight interceptions. Shit's gonna happen. You don't think people are gonna be fumbling the ball this season when real games are going on?
True. Yeah. I mean, listen. It's the second week of August. It's hard for me to like take any of this serious.
For anybody that's taking preseason that seriously or training camp, you just need to get over yourself. It's not that serious. I haven't seen one football team won the Super Bowl because they had an amazing record in preseason.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to be an issue. You know, especially when starters aren't really starting, and you know, I mean, there's a lot of teams that are resting their big name players, big contract players, and rightfully so. The last thing you want is a $50 million guy going down in the preseason. You know. But I just think it's always too early to start barking about who's good, who's not, because you know, by week 8, these teams look totally different. You know, by week 6, they look totally different. I mean, I really don't feel like we truly know who's there and who's not until about the middle of October. You know,
dude, they had this thing about Ryan Fitzpatrick being an MVP candidate.
That's a little excessive there, maybe for fantasy football, but you know, the NFL ain't fantasy, so.
Anyways, let's move on to wrestling really quick.
Before we get to wrestling, I want to get to my new catchphrase. So as I like that you're already like, oh God. So as I was at the doctor this week, you know, I always like to share personal stuff. I was getting different vitals taken. I was getting, you know, this kind of other stuff. And I guess all my vitals were like crazy good, which is very surprising to me. I thought there was a lot of stuff was going to be wrong, but
yeah.
In fact, my blood oxygen was so high that, quote, it was exceptional and better than most. So I think my new catchphrase should be better than most, as approved by medical professionals. I mean, I know most of you out there can't say you're better than most, as analyzed by your doctor and or physician and or whomever. I'll take better than most at age almost 40. Yep. Things are supposed to be breaking down. I'm getting healthier. I'm like the T1000, baby. Put a hole in me, it grows right back.
Thinking back for the weekend, non-wrestling related, and you guys already heard it in the intro, but the back and forth dialogue between Mike Johnson and Triple H was absolutely amazing. I don't have any personal issues or anything like that towards Mike Johnson. Actually, he's one of the few writers that don't really live and die off his rumors or sources. I've heard him. He's had multiple guest appearances on the Taz show. And Mike's a cool dude. I had a chance to interview Mike before on my old radio show. I have no issues with Mike Johnson, but here's the thing, man. This is the vibe that I get from a lot of the wrestling shows that are not run by fans, but more like people who do articles and have websites and this and that. If you're gonna go on your high horse and die on a certain hill, and you want to bring a condescending attitude to a question you want to ask somebody, I get it. We're all part of the, not all of us, but I get it. You're part of the media, and you want to have the hard-hitting questions, and this and that. You want the truth, and this and that as a liaison to wrestling fans. I get the whole drill of media, but condescending questions and not doing your homework while asking said question warrants a condescending response. And I'm sorry, man. Mike Johnson walked into his own burial session, and
get the shovels out, baby. Sorry, I had to go pick up a pizza that was outside, but because that's like a kind of day. Yeah, not to cut you off, but yeah, dude. And listen, I don't know anybody, and I support anybody, in their hustle and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not gonna knock anybody in a situation. It kind of was a stupid question, though.
Yeah.
We all ask dumb questions, though. Life is about asking dumb questions sometimes, right? You want to ask the dumb question so that way sometimes you actually get more out of a question that, So we might have got more out of Triple H because the question was kind of so off center, But I'll admit, I kind of agreed with Triple H a little bit. That was a reach to say that the scratch on Adam Cole's back was like blood. Oh, it's blood.
Well, that's one of the biggest issues I have with society these days. We live and die by these perceptions of what actually is and what people say, and you dissect every word somebody says. And that was the whole gist of his question, because Vince McMahon on his stockholders conference was saying that WWE want to move on from goring and guts and blood and this and that. So you hear one thing, and as a media member, if they go any different direction, I'm gonna get them really good. A scratch in the back in a wrestling match where it's not that big of a deal.
Well, I think too. Whenever that bag was hanging on the cage, which let's not get it twisted, that was the Ambrose Asylum cage, right?
Yeah, it was the Ambrose Asylum mixed with the TNA.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, the bag that was hanging there, I thought it absolutely was going to be tax, right?
Yeah.
So when it came out, it was just the pliers and it wasn't a tax. It's like that would even make you feel, because I was just sure that it was tax, right? So when you see that it's not thumbtacks now, that's the clue of, hey, they're not doing blood and guts, right? Because if they were looking for blood and guts, I damn sure guarantee you there would have been about 300 to 400 thumbtacks in there.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question: Did Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole needed blood in that cage to sell more of the drama of that match, or no?
I don't think so. No,
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't think blood is always necessary. That one, I don't think blood's necessary in most matches, I'm sure people would argue that, this is a match because it was like 3 stages of hell. So it coulda, woulda, shoulda, but, maybe a different company, maybe, but I don't, I think Crimson should be used sparsely. And I mean, when accidents happen, that's a totally different thing. But I just think that Crimson should be sparse. It should be special occasion only, not saying TakeOver wouldn't be a special occasion right before SummerSlam, but I just don't think they need it. And if you don't need it, why use it? All you're saying is that we're not good enough to put on this 60-minute match without it. We're not good enough to tell this story without it. And it's just like, listen, some rappers don't need to swear. Some do, some don't. Some comedians are more clean than other comedians. I don't think there's no right or wrong answer. I just think that if they were really going for the blood and guts, and which was the question that was asked, that bag would have been filled with tax.
Correct.
I mean, so I think that's where I kind of chuckled, because the dude did walk straight into the sledgehammer of doom and the shovel of doom. Let's face it. He kind of teed himself up for it. And I respect the dude. And like I said, I'll never knock anyone's hustle. They're probably in a much better place than I am. So, I'm not going to knock that, but I did kind of get a nice little I popped to Triple H's reaction, and I like that you could hear all the writers in the room laughing too, or whoever else was in the room with Triple H. Like everyone got a big kick out of it, you know.
That was definitely the longest match I transcribed since the Iron Man match that Omega and Okada had a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was like an hour and something minutes.
It was a good match.
Yeah, it was good. Really quick, just overall speaking for TakeOver Toronto, I enjoyed the show. There was a couple surprises, man. I was very happy to see that Candice LeRae and Io Shirai got the time that they did on the TakeOver show.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a rush match or anything like that, so I thought that was really cool. And it was a good match too. I mean, Io Shirai is a great heel. It was cool to see Candice LeRae in the ring and not have to think about her as just Johnny Gargano's wife, which
Correct.
is a good thing. And I just thought it was a good match. What do you think about that one?
No, I actually thought the whole card was nice. So any match you ask me about, I'm going to say, yep, it was a good one. I was really pleased to see, and not that it really matters either way, but I think we all kind of were under the assumption that the Street Profits were probably going to drop the titles. And I don't watch NXT on a regular basis. So, guys, keep your arrows for somebody that cares. But, as far as everything goes, like I didn't think Roddy Strong was going to win the North American Championship. I thought that was going to be more of a continuation so that, Dunn and Dream could probably feud later on. But I did think that Undisputed Era was probably taking a tag title. So, that was a surprise to me, a pleasant surprise. Not that I've skin in the game either way, but, I just thought that the whole card, I thought it flowed nice. I thought, there wasn't really any lulls. The Io Shirai Shayna match was awesome. Like you said, Candice and Candice that match was phenomenal. I'm sorry, Candice and Io and because Mia Yim and yeah, I'm mixing up people here, but it's been a long day, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, man, I really, really enjoyed TakeOver. I mean, but like we always said, we were gonna enjoy TakeOver. I don't need to watch the build per se. I get everything I need out of their pre-show and then the show that they give us.
Correct. Here was my thing for the show. I think my favorite match was the 3-way match. For people who are looking for places for Roderick Strong to be in after the Undisputed Era splits or whatever, I think him on 205 Live would work.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a fan of Roderick Strong's wrestling. He's probably my second favorite member of that group besides Adam Cole. And the dude's just an awesome wrestler, man. So it was pretty cool. The Velveteen Dream coming out as the Mountie was pretty funny.
You know what? My man better get his own identity before he just keeps ripping off of somebody different every pay-per-view. Yeah. Otherwise, he's going to be a comedy act on the main roster.
You know what? ESPN may forget that the Raptors won the NBA Finals this year, but WWE didn't. So I thought that was
shout out to Chris Walter on that one because I know my man's a big Raptors fan, so I want to make sure I give him some love. But as somebody that doesn't have any skin in the NBA game at all, that was excessive, man. There was so much Raptor stuff. But let's put the caveat on it. Listen, if the Raiders did that, I'd be all about it. When they finally have a WrestleMania in Vegas, once that stadium opens up and the WrestleMania logo kind of looks like the Raiders logo, like they're doing with Tampa this year. And, it's based around, I'm going to be all about it. So congrats to the 6. You guys deserve everything that all the love you guys got over the weekend. So I can't be mad at it.
Or even the new building that they're making for in San Francisco, the Chase Center. I think that's almost done.
Who's playing there?
The Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
I think they're tearing down the Oracle. That's what I heard. So
sounds about right.
I don't know how long it's going to be until both of those buildings are gone. To be honest with you,
here's one for all my Batman fans out there. The best way to take down Oracle? Gunshot to the spine. Boom.
That's a good one.
Sorry. That was low hanging, man. I had that. That was
Yeah.
I wouldn't be me if I didn't tack that one.
Yep, that was a good one. Anything else to see stood out to me, man? I love Mauro Ronaldo. I make no bones about it. I am a commentary guy through and through. Just the energy that dude has is just amazing, man. And having him and Nigel, their dynamic together works really well. And I thought Beth Phoenix did a good job as well on commentary.
Did really good.
And usually when I'm transcribing shows, and this happens more with AEW shows because for whatever reason they treat their tag team matches like they're tornado tags, and there's not really, I don't know. There's a lot of referee discretion in AEW matches or other promotions, but when transcribing the show, like having a Mauro Ronaldo and Nigel who know the moves and sequences, those guys really help me out. So I just want to give those guys a shout because they are really good at what they do. Also on the commentary tip, I really enjoyed the 205 Live commentary team as well. So just want to throw that out there. Yeah, that's pretty much it for TakeOver. I thought it was pretty good from top to bottom. Their next TakeOver special will be in Chicago, War Games. I'm finally going to see a War Games match in person. I can't wait.
Now, I'll say one thing that might be unpopular, but I know I'm not the only one that's thinking this. So I'll say the things everybody else is afraid to say. This TakeOver made me realize one thing. I love him. I love him. I love him. I want to preface this by saying I love him. But sometimes I think Mauro goes a little too far on commentary. I need him to scale it back a little bit. Sometimes it's a little much. You know what I mean? It's great for NXT. I get it. It's great for maybe a younger age, people of a certain age, whatever. You know, don't get me wrong. I love his pop culture references and stuff like that. Sometimes I do think it's a little much though. You know, he's still 30 million times better than I'll ever be. So I'm not throwing stones. But I know I'm not the only one thinking it. So I'll say it so you guys don't have to.
All right. Really quick, before we get into SummerSlam this week of Raw and SmackDown, they announced this week that the first SmackDown for the show on Fox is going to be in LA at the Staples Center. They're bringing a lot of people, as obviously we've been expected for that particular show. I think for that first show, they're going to drop a big angle for either WrestleMania or Survivor Series on that show. So, because that Friday show, hold up. I think we may watch the first SmackDown.
Yeah, you'll be in town. You'll be in Pittsburgh, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty freaking cool. I just recognize that. That's awesome.
That's the day Joker comes out. That's October 4th, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
October 4th. That week is the week of Hell in a Cell on the Sunday. So Hell in a Cell is going to be in Sacramento.
Is it Hell in a Cell or Clash of Champions?
Hell in a Cell.
That's right, because Clash is September. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm getting my months mixed up.
Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. That's the cool part where we don't go off the script. This is like live conversation and just recognize it. Then we get to watch the first SmackDown on Fox again. That's going to be pretty cool.
And you know what? I'm going to go off script for a second, too, with some breaking news for anybody that might be listening live or might not pay attention to the news like me, and you might, just pick this up later on. If you're a NASCAR fan, which I lived in Charlotte for a minute. I've gone to a race. I understand why people are so passionate about it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was in a plane crash today. His private jet crashed. It looked like an airport in Tennessee or something like that. Some people were in the hospital, so hope that works out well. I lived in Concord, which was Earnhardt. It's like they look at their Earnhardts like Greek gods, and I wish I was kidding.
Yeah, I saw that about an hour ago. It's messed up, man.
That's crazy.
I remember, I think a couple years ago, Roy Halladay passed away from a plane accident too.
Is it too soon to say like father, like son? Too soon. Oh.
Yeah, I remember watching that live on TV. I think that was the first NASCAR show I watched and probably the last one I watched too. So, anyways, I don't know how to transition out of that. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't think anybody knows how to transition out of that.
Really quick, G1 came to the end this Monday. Shout out to Kota Ibushi. He is the winner of this year's G1 Climax tournament. This year for Wrestle Kingdom, they're actually trying out a 2-night thing. So they're going to have 2 shows in the Tokyo Dome on January 4th and the 5th. So that's going to be pretty cool. Kota Ibushi will be the main event of Wrestle Kingdom this year. So congrats to Ibushi. I called it last week. It would be Ibushi and Jay White in the finals. It wasn't any like dirt sheet stuff because I don't really read dirt sheets anymore. It's just my observation of how the tournament was going as it was going. So Jay White, again, is a star. He's the best bad guy in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Their match went about 30 minutes. It was a lot of fun, man. That show on Monday did a lot of good for the vibe and the momentum for New Japan going through the rest of the year. Kenta, Hideo Itami, whatever you want to call him, he joined the Bullet Club.
Yes, he did.
Very good angle. So Shibata, the guy who unfortunately had to retire a couple years ago to a nasty head injury, he brought Kenta in as his mentee, and he brought him to New Japan after he left WWE, right? So Shibata's shocked. Oh my God, Kenta joined one of the worst factions in all of New Japan. I'm not saying bad quality. I'm saying like one of the bad factions in the company. And he was shocked. And out of nowhere, he just starts doing forearms and all this stuff. I'm like, is this dude not retired anymore? I was shocked. And then Kenta and the entire Bullet Club beat down Shibata. Kenta sits like CM Punk on Shibata's chest. Maybe some good symbolism there. I don't know. But it was a really good angle, and the crowd were pissed at him too. So anytime you get real heat, man, it's always good, right?
Yeah. You know what? A buddy of mine is over in Japan right now doing some work. And he went to I'm trying to see what I think it might have been last Monday's. It was either last Sunday or last Monday's show. Like as was coming to a close. And he went to a different promotion earlier in the day, and I'm going to look up the name. He said it was fantastic. Gato, what is it? Gato something.
Yeah,
that's where Riho started. And so he went to one of their shows in the daytime, then went to the G1 at night. So he had a nice little wrestling day over there. But he was all over the G1 the entire time. Watched every show, everything, I'm
trying to see what else really stood out from that last show. Oh, remember a couple weeks ago I went on a rant about Suzuki not being in the G1?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it ended up having some good dividends towards the end of this thing. He defeated Okada in a tag team match. He got a pinfall victory over Okada, and Suzuki is going to be the next challenger for Okada's IWGP Heavyweight title. New Japan is having a special in the UK. Dude, by the way, August 31st, I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep. There's 3 major shows on that Saturday. They got the New Japan Royal Quest show in the Copper Box in the UK. You got XT UK TakeOver Cardiff. And you got All Out that day.
I can't wait for All Out.
So, man, there's just a lot of stuff going on wrestling-wise. I'm glad that, just speaking from a personal point of view, I can relax these next couple weeks before that crazy-ass weekend. I need it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been putting in the grunt work, but it's worth it. I had a blast covering the G1. I mentioned it before already on this show, and it was a lot of fun. I had a good time covering the shows, and New Japan got some good momentum after the Young Bucks and all those guys left the company earlier, and that's good for them.
Yo, Jay White does look like who did I say the other day? Jay White looks like Neville and Rollins had a love child.
Right.
Legit does. But the other promotion my buddy went to go see was Gato Move, Gatoh. MOVE. Let me see. Emi Sakura. It was a Joshie legend. That's who runs it. She trained Riho from AEW. Riho started over there. My buddy said it's super fun show. Crazy to see up close. So it's like watching a match in your living room. And long story short, he said, basically, they don't have rope breaks. You have to, no ring. It's just a mat on the floor, and you need to grab an audience member's leg if you want to break a hold. That's fantastic.
That's funny.
Why am I not watching more of this?
Let's see. I'm looking up at the G1 thing right here. So for the Royal Quest show, they're gonna have Kenta against Ishii, which is gonna be insane. And then you got Okada against Suzuki, and just a whole bunch of different matches. I don't know if Rev Pro's gonna be part of this UK show, but I don't see why not. Zack Sabre Jr. is the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Champion right now, so he's gonna be defending the title against Tanahashi on that show. Man, Zack Sabre Jr. and Tanahashi have fought each other as much as Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler have fought each other the last couple of years. So they have good matches, but I think you see something different between those two. Yeah, that's pretty much it from a G1 update and conclusion. So shout out to Bushi for winning the G1 this past Monday. All right, let's see where we go here before we bring AJ in.
And before we get to Raw, SmackDown, and all that kind of stuff, let's talk about this real quick. Wrestling fans, I got my black craft. Sorry, as I'm eating a pizza, so everything's like kind of messed up. Sorry, guys, busy man, got to eat while I podcast. But anybody that is big into the black craft, anybody that's big in, or as AJ calls it, when you guys saw limping Seth Rollins last week, she said that was me. Same jeans, black craft shirt, backwards hat, limping horribly to the ring. That would be me. So I'm just skinny, limpy Seth Rollins, I guess. But July's Black Craft box, if you guys are fans, know it was a Marty Scurll villain and themed. We got 3 shirts, a surprise gift, and an autograph. Finally came yesterday. It's one of the coolest, and I've never ordered one of these like mystery boxes before, but it definitely had 3 awesome shirts in there, like that the Black Craft doesn't offer, I think, otherwise. Came with a cool little bag too, but I've never done one of those, man. Like I've seen people do the unboxing things, whatever. Everyone goes all crazy for them. I just never had money to do it, but I wasn't passing up on an opportunity to fill my closet with even more Marty shirts, and I'm glad that I did. So I guess what I'm getting at by this, guys, is if you ever get an opportunity on one of your favorite superstars, whether it's wrestler, whether it's whomever, they do this kind of stuff, I've realized it's definitely worth the money.
I gotta get one of those.
Oh, it was awesome. Awesome.
All right, bro. Let me ask you, what do you think about the King of the Ring coming back? Because I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, actually.
We did. Before we bring AJ in, I do want to talk a little bit about SummerSlam, then we'll bring her in. But I'm excited. I mean, it's a little bit different spin than we're used to, because of course they have to do it that way. Not that I'm pro con it, nothing like that. But I like how there's going to be, I guess, a Raw bracket, SmackDown bracket. I guess, I mean, maybe they could have mixed up whatever, but this is how they're rolling it. I don't mind it. At least they're bringing it back. I am such a big fan of the same day tournament. Even just having the finals in a different day kind of throws it off kilter for me. Shouldn't matter, me being petty, but I'm definitely excited to see who. I'm guessing the finals is going to be McIntyre versus Owens is probably what it's going to be. But
I'm holding out hope for Baron Corbin because I like to see the world burn.
Yeah, but sometimes that just seeing the world burn won't really. I don't know.
You don't think that would work for Baron Corbin?
Yeah, probably not.
I don't know.
I don't think he needs it,
I'm not saying he needs it, but
I think it's something that if you put it on somebody like McIntyre, he's already going through this, he's this just Scottish, the Scottish psychopath. Well, he could be the Scottish king, I mean, that would be interesting.
I don't have a preference right now. Obviously, they just announced this tournament on Monday. I'm just saying that for anybody that says that Corbin wouldn't get a reaction out of him winning the tournament, I just disagree.
I think people would be indifferent, and that's because they're bringing it back. Last 2 times they brought it back, who was the king of the ring?
Wade Barrett and
can't remember. It doesn't matter. See, they didn't do anything with Wade Barrett, and the one before we don't know. We can't remember. So it left.
There was this stipulation where whoever won the tournament got a title shot.
Right, but in the same breath though, the fact that we really can't remember the tournament shows how meaningless it was, right? And they can't allow, and I don't want to say they can't or whatever, but there are already enough scrutiny. If they're bringing King of the Ring back, it has to at least feel something more than just a quick money grab for like, hey fans, look what we're doing. And then it's just, and I'm not saying if they gave us Corbin, yeah, it'd be great heel heat maybe for a day, but then I think people would lose interest. I think it's somebody that they want to kind of go forward with and that would typically maybe have a title on them that wouldn't. And McIntyre is a guy that I wouldn't put any title on him unless it's a world title, like one of the main 2 titles, world or universal, I guess, or whatever. And I think the King of the Ring would be a good bridge up to it. And again, I'm not trying to pick favorites or anything like that, but I'm just trying to see like how they could be painting it and how the storylines could play out and that kind of stuff. And as much as I like Corbin, I don't know. I just think it would be the wrong way to go.
Again, I wasn't trying to make it out that Corbin's the only person that I want to win.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And again, it's not something that's just going to be one show, and that's it. They showed a graphic that they're going to be having matches on Raw and SmackDown. I don't know when this thing's ending, so.
So it's going to be okay.
So let's let this thing play out. I'm excited from a transcribing point of view because the guys that are in this tournament, they're going to put on some bangers, and I'm excited for it.
One thing that would be cool is if Ricochet wins it, he wouldn't have to change his Twitter handle.
That's a good point. Does King Murphy have a ring to it?
Dude, how awesome was it to see Buddy Murphy get time on SmackDown? I know we're kind of jumping all around here, but Buddy Murphy is a dude that like he puts in work, and dude is solid in the ring. Yeah. And all the Reigns haters out there, this dude has 5-star matches with everyone he's in the ring with.
He can't work.
It's that match. First of all, if you didn't know who Buddy Murphy was before this Tuesday, now you know. Right. And it shouldn't have taken a match against Roman Reigns, but you know what, Josh? It took a match against Roman Reigns. Who says he doesn't put people over? It's not about the win sometimes. It's about the exposure. Like Ricochet at SummerSlam. It wasn't about the win. It was you're in a match against AJ Styles at SummerSlam. Like that's already putting you a little bit ahead of where you were at before.
I didn't know what Nightwing was, but I thought his outfit was really cool.
Whenever I said I said, dude, he's pulling a Nightwing. You're like, who's Nightwing? I wanted to throw my phone across the living room. I almost chucked it. What? Dick Grayson?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. No, I agree with you. Bully Ray was talking about this on Busted Open the other day. Jerry Briscoe had this old expression. You're not made if you're not making your other opponent in the ring with you, whether you're winning or losing. So just the match in general, I wasn't surprised. I know how good Buddy Murphy is as a performer, and I know how good of a wrestler Roman Reigns was. And any of the dumb, silly perceptions that Roman Reigns is the next John Cena and he holds people back, that's just bullshit. Mm-hmm. It is. So I'm happy. I'm beyond elated for Buddy Murphy for the rave reviews he's been getting since Tuesday. And it's well deserved. And if anything else, anybody thinks that he was just going to be there and just be a placeholder guy, just a random guy on the roster, it would have been a quick squash match with how it was going with that feud or the storyline with Roman Reigns. So, hey, man, the sky's the limit for that dude. And we'll see what happens. Again, just looking at the people that are already announced for the King of the Ring tournament, there's just going to be a lot of fun matches, just like the one we saw with Roman Reigns and Buddy Murphy. So,
I think the one thing WWE is doing right, because everybody wants to knock him for this, that, and the other thing, but we never talk about what they do right. And one thing they're definitely doing right is, and listen, I'm eating crow just as much as anybody. My fear was that once you got put on 205 Live, you were put in wrestling purgatory, right? Not that it's a bad show, not anything like that, but I was afraid the 205 Live athletes were going to kind of get pigeonholed as the cruiserweights, the smaller guys, you know. But you look at what they've done with Ali, with Cedric Alexander, Buddy Murphy, they're Drake Maverick.
Yes.
They're really starting to make them, they're incorporating them now like WCW used to. It's almost like you kind of graduated out of that division and then went, you know, back to, you know, to Raw. Now we're saying Raw or SmackDown, but it's almost like you could graduate out of the cruiserweights and get into the upper tier divisions. I think that's one thing WWE is doing very well right now. What do you think, Josh?
I gotta look at this. Did they announce that Nakamura's in the King of the Ring or no?
I don't know. It'd be awesome though, because him being the king of strong style. There's another king. A lot of kings.
Lots of kings.
All Chiefs, no Indians.
I'm the biggest 205 Live fan that probably does shows like this. I'm more than happy for these guys because I know how talented these guys are performers. And, you know, while everybody was being petty and whining about purple ropes and them having a weekly spot on Raw, this and that, it was good exposure for them. Mm-hmm. And then here goes the debate about, only wrestling can't draw in people, so we bring in Enzo. That project flops. Neville starts getting upset because he's not winning every match, even though he was like the main event of 205 Live for an entire year. I don't know, man. My perception on Pac has kind of changed over the last couple of years, especially what happened for the first AEW pay-per-view where he ducked out last minute. I don't know, man. I don't know, but I'm happy for these guys. They deserve the platform, and they're good performers. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at the match that Cedric Alexander had with Drew McIntyre on Monday.
Yep.
That was a very good match, too. So these guys can do anything they want to do, and it's matches that people are excited by, and they're not sitting on their hands. And that's always been my biggest issue when you have a cruiserweight title match on a pay-per-view or a kickoff show. People are sitting on their hands during it. I mean, I thought Drew Gulak and Oney Lorcan had a really good match at SummerSlam. So, again, I'm more than happy for these cruiserweight guys. They more than anybody deserve the platform they've been getting the last couple weeks. All right, I got the list right here. For Raw, you got Miz, Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, Samoa Joe, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, and Cesaro. Tell me where you find the bad match on that side, you know?
How annoying would Sami Zayn be? It would be so good, but
yes.
That's what I mean, annoying in a good way.
Oh, by the way, I want to make sure I say this because I don't want to forget. The Street Prophecy with Ric Flair on SummerSlam was pretty funny. All right, SmackDown. Kevin Owens, Mustafa Ali, Apollo Crews, Chad Gable, Elias, Andrade, Cien Almas, Buddy Murphy, and Shelton Benjamin. Yo, man, who's Shelton's dealer, man? This dude is tweaking as the weeks go by.
Maybe he's got his medical card too.
That's jeez.
You're welcome.
I wonder if Shane McMahon's going to find a way to get him out of the tournament.
You almost feel like somehow
maybe Nakamura would replace Kevin Owens.
Potentially, yeah.
Just an idea. We'll see, though. I'm very excited that this is coming back. Obviously, they haven't announced if the winner wins this match or win this tournament, they get a title shot. So we'll see what happens. All right. What did you want to mention about SummerSlam before we bring AJ in?
Oh, okay. So now I realized something this weekend. South Park always has that moment where they realize something through all the chaos. Here's what I learned, man. And I know I don't know. Again, I'll say the things that sometimes people need to hear, because I know what people's feelings are out there. I will admit, and now before you guys start going crazy, because I think that the first half of SummerSlam sucked. Now, here's why I'm going to say that. The first couple hours of SummerSlam, my phone wouldn't stop. I'm always on the clock. It's the way my job goes. I'm setting up appointments. I'm setting up, meetings with clients, whatever the case may be. I'm cooking. I'm trying to get, I just wanted to sit down and really watch a pay-per-view. Listen, I ain't mad at my job. Obviously, I'm not mad. It's just life happens, right? So I started thinking, because I was like, man, I can't get into this pay-per-view. I was like getting kind of frustrated, blaming WWE. Oh, this card sucks. It's whatever. And it wasn't the show. I was just too distracted, right? I was too distracted to really like sit down and invest myself in the match or in the show or what was going on.
What were we talking about last week?
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Everybody, now I'm not obviously asking for this. Unfortunately, my job sometimes call for it. I can't turn my phone off like you guys can. I thought this week about getting a flip phone, like totally downgrading, being one of those dudes now that like, or dudes or chicks, whomever, that we're starting to use flip phones now instead of like these high tech phones. And I was actually ready to pull the trigger on it this week, and just realize with my job, I can't. I need a smartphone. I need email all the time. I need business. I have business to take care of. That being said, I hated the first 2 hours. And I don't think it was anything WWE did or did not do. It's just that I was so distracted by my phone, emails, text messages, calls, like, whatever the case may be, that I just really couldn't sit back and start to submerge myself into the stories that they were telling. Most people listening to this, whether you realize it or not, you ask for it. See, I don't ask for that. I wish I could turn my phone off. I just can't. But you guys can. Chances are most people listening to this can. And you might not be able to. I'm not going to try and listen, I ain't shit when it comes to my job. So please don't think I'm like some like high and mighty thing. I'm not. I'm a peon. That's why I constantly have to be near my phone. But it made me realize it wasn't WWE. It was me. It was what was going on around me. And I think a lot of times we say, oh, it just sucked. Yeah, but how much of it did you watch and how much of it were you pounding the keys to Twitter? Right? Because if you're not really watching the pay-per-view, if you're just too busy watching Twitter and what's this person saying, or let me respond to them, or let me do this, you're already setting WWE up to fail and yourself up to fail, because you're not going to enjoy. You're too distracted. You're getting pulled in too many directions, which is exactly. And it finally, once I knew that I was kind of done for the night, I just like kind of slammed my phone down, just turned the ringer off, and it was just like, I'm done with this. I need to like really submerge myself. So, of course, when it ended at 10:30, I was pissed off because it was like, the earliest end for a pay-per-view all year. And, half of it kind of was like, thrown up, in the air because, some real life stuff. But listen, it wasn't WWE. It was definitely more what was going on in my house, in my life, in whatever. So, and it took me kind of like, thankfully, the second half I thought it was a great second half of SummerSlam. Again, I could get invested in it. There was no distractions. I could really, really soak up what they were, what they were giving us. Love it, hate it, whatever, So at least, but that's kind of where I'm at with that. I think that for a lot of you that complain about any product, and we're starting to hear the complaints about AEW, right? And a lot of times I don't think, or any promotion that you watch, I don't think it's them. I think it's you, and it's not you. It's that subconscious. You can't stay away from your phone. You need that dopamine fucking rush. And right now, your dopamine rush comes from your phone. It doesn't come from drugs. It doesn't come from life. It comes from your phone. You want to make sure you have a tweet. You want to make sure people like your tweet. You want retweets. You want to see who likes your Facebook post. You want to see, and in the interim of you looking for all this adulation and people to like you online, you're not even paying attention to what you should be paying attention to anyway. That's a problem, I think. I really think that's more the problem right now than anything else. That's any kind of TV. So I've been big. It's funny because AJ and I have been very big lately that like when we decide we're going to like there's something on TV that we're going to watch, phones get put up, phones get put aside. We're watching what we want to watch. And, you realize how much you do miss. You know what I mean? Like, and that's any show that you watch. I'm not just going to say wrestling, but a lot of shows that first time around, even movies I've watched, it's like, oh man, it was all right. But then you don't have a phone in your hand. You're not looking up articles, fact checking everything 25 seconds because everybody's got to be the know-it-all of everything. They can't wait a couple hours till the show's over, right? Mm-hmm. And again, any show, any concert, any whatever, it made me realize a lot, and we are way too connected. We're way too nobody. Again, it's attention deficit disorder, America. It's hey, let's. And I mean, it's a worldwide thing now, but it's very prevalent here. But that's just my take on that. And so I'm not going to change my stance. Like, of course, I still hated the first half of SummerSlam, but again, it wasn't WWE's fault. Like, I couldn't get into a rhythm as a wrestling fan. How can I pass the buck onto WWE? You know, it's just an unfair criticism of like, oh, this sucks, when it really doesn't. It's just that, again, there's so many distractions. Imagine back in, for anybody that's of a certain age listening to this, imagine back in the 2000s, early 2000s, late 90s, whenever your favorite era was, even in the 80s. Now imagine a pizza guy coming, and then next door neighbor coming, and then postman coming, because we'll just say we get mail on Sundays, which we don't, but whatever. And just you have all these distractions before we had cell phones or all these things that constantly kept us connected, right? And we would have been mad, right? We would like, quit knocking on our door. I'm just trying to watch this thing. Oh my God, but we're so used to it. We're so used to life's interruptions that we don't realize how chaotic and how miserable it makes us. So the reason why I'm telling this story is to say, hey guys, maybe instead of just sitting on Twitter while you're watching wrestling, watch wrestling. It's good.
I've been saying that for 5 months.
Well, that's why I wanted to toss it out there, man, because it really was like, for me, I was not enjoying myself, and then like finally I got.
What about, besides the distraction, what about the first half of the show you didn't like?
Dude, I don't even really remember the first half of the show. I was steaming. I'm not going to lie. There was steam coming out of my ears. Like, I just want my phone to stop, which it's nobody's fault. You know what I mean? I'm obviously joking about it, guys. It's not, it ain't that big of a deal. But it was enough to distract me to where, because, I'm waiting to hear responses from people, right, Josh? And of course, I'm not telling but so you're waiting for a response, and you want to know, and you're already thinking, okay, what do I got going on this week? Let me see what day I can schedule this in. And then, so I'm not paying attention at all. And that's not WWE's fault, I will say, I do think, and I know this is being petty, but when you end your second biggest pay-per-view of the year early and Edge is on your pre-show, that I do have a criticism of, But other than that, that's my only real criticism.
Okay. For me personally, it's hard to me to explain my overall enjoyment of the show until I watch it a second time. I have to double watch pay-per-views at times to get a better perspective for the show, and from a fan element too, because I don't have that opportunity to just sit back and just watch the match for what it is. I'm trying to get the moves down and understand the sequences and this and that. Because basically, with what I do with my articles, I want it to be a point of reference for people who don't have the opportunity to watch the show. That's basically all it is at the end of the day, right? So, when I'm transcribing the show, I could kind of get engaged with how the crowd's reacting to it, but it's very rare where I find myself just like losing myself as a fan over a match, whether it's slow, awesome, great stinks and sliced bread, worst match ever. I don't have those emotions when I'm transcribing the show. I can't because I'm not sitting there as a fan. I have something I have to do, and then when I watch it again, I get a different perspective of it. And maybe that's why I get more of a bigger picture of where certain things are going, because I'm not so boggled down of what's on my face as it's happening. And like you said, I'm not rushing to my social media. I think in the past I've kind of worried about perception of how shows are being looked at and this and that, but now I don't care anymore. I don't, because a lot of the conversation and the debates about what shows are good and what shows are not good, there's no nuance to it. So why should that affect how I think about a show?
Right.
And
let me ask this question: did you only watch SummerSlam once?
I watched it Tuesday night at the shop.
Okay. Yeah. So how do you think this stacked up and compared to other SummerSlams?
I thought this year's SummerSlam was way better than last year's. And I'm not saying last year's was bad. It's just I thought the matches were way better this year than it was last year. I really enjoyed the Natalya-Becky Lynch match that started off the show. I thought they did a very good job, and the crowd was into it. Just a lot of cool spots. The AJ Ricochet match I thought was really cool. I was kind of bummed that people were on their hands during Bailey and Ember Moon because I thought they were really trying and they did some good stuff in that match.
I actually did think that match was a lot better than what people were giving it credit for. That's the first match I really got to sink into, and I thought they did a great job.
Goldberg got his redemption, and I know some people are indifferent towards Goldberg, and that's fine. But he got the crowd pop.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I did think it was a really cool spot. It had a little comedy element to it. It was funny. It was whatever. It's
Ziggler was really funny in that.
Oh, he's awesome.
So I think for the last couple of years, and I was looking back at this the other day because I was scrolling through the network. Brock Lesnar has been on the last 8 SummerSlams. And it's kind of crazy to think that time's gone by that fast.
Mm-hmm.
Because he came back in 2012. But every SummerSlam since 2012, Brock Lesnar has been on it or been in the main event. I think the only one he was not in the main event was the CM Punk match in 2013.
Right.
Yeah, he was main event. 14, that's the squash match with Cena. 15, Undertaker. 16. Oh, no, my bad. The last one he wasn't was 16 because that was the Randy Orton match. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Brock Lesnar. Okay, now it's my time to eat crow.
Uh-oh.
Right? I thought Brock Lesnar was awesome. And the match with him and Seth Rollins was awesome to close out the show.
Yeah, I did too.
I was not expecting it to go down like that and no shenanigans. And I didn't think it hurt Brock Lesnar's perception. I thought it was cool for Seth, obviously. And it was just an awesome match, too. So
I popped, man. I never thought they'd have Seth go over totally clean. No funny business. No. We were talking about this before the show, Josh.
Yeah.
If you guys take a step back and think about, and I mean no funny business, like, so not at WrestleMania where Heyman comes out, interrupts people, and they bring Lesnar out. Lesnar throws Rollins around for a while. There's pre-match stuff. Like, we're talking totally 100% clean.
Correct.
I mean, there's the list is, you can count on one hand people in his career that beat Brock Lesnar clean, right? And I'm talking totally clean. No goofy stipulations with, like, no holds barred or no Heyman interference or no outside interference from this side, that side, just no funny business, just a straight, this was a straight up wrestling match that Seth Rollins won with just clean, 100% clean, no low blow, no, not like clean with his moves.
Yeah, I can't
list, man.
I can't even say Eddie Guerrero because there was shenanigans in that match.
Yes, there were.
Let's see. By the way, go check out that match on the network if you haven't seen it. No Way Out 2004, Brock Lesnar and Eddie Guerrero. Pretty cool moment at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. Let's see what else stood out to me for the pay-per-view.
I got one for you.
Go ahead, brother.
And this is just 9-year-old me telling 39-year-old me life has come full circle. Bret Hart going up to Seth Rollins, kind of giving him the good luck. Because I know a lot of people might forget about the big divide there was in the wrestling bubble, the 10% of us, that's in the wrestling bubble of all wrestling fans. But when Bret was saying that Seth was an unsafe worker a couple years ago, and there was all this outrage, and there was hate towards Seth, there was hate towards Bret, it was all this back and forth. I was just as guilty as everybody else getting in the mix, and I love both of these guys. And Bret was was on the very short list of guys I really, really adored when I was younger. And and I unfortunately had to open my big mouth back in the day too. But I thought that was a nice moment. For people that are either Bret Hart fans, Seth Rollins fans of them both, just fans of the business, fans of the industry, fans of storytelling, whatever. I thought it was really cool seeing them just, Bret kind of, and how cool was it to see Bret pop up again? He's Mr. I'll show up anywhere right now. AEW, I got that work. SummerSlam, count me in.
Stop by, get some paychecks. By the way, Bret Hart was in the WWE 2K20 video game commercial.
Good.
I don't know if anybody saw him there, but he was there.
Well, it was nice seeing Brett back to where, ultimately where it looked like there would be no hard feelings, like who cares that he was in an AEW pay-per-view or whatever. I like that, they're kind of saying, listen, we don't care. He's still our guy. We're going to support him. We want him back for certain reasons. That's nice to see because a lot of times people can get blacklisted. If this were during the Monday Night Wars, you wouldn't have probably seen Brett, So I do think that as much as we don't want to say it, I do think the, WWE has grown as far as from a mentality of, hey, just because he showed up somewhere else a couple months ago doesn't mean that we can still use him effectively on our show.
There was a recap show that I heard of SummerSlam yesterday, and somebody was saying that, the way the thing ended with Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton didn't make sense. Did you not see the part where Randy Orton was talking and staring down Kofi's kids?
I'll admit that I didn't like that. That's my one gripe. That's, I guess, my other gripe of SummerSlam.
I don't know, man. You're looking at somebody's kids. The reaction was warranted of how he snapped. It wasn't just.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, for sure. I guess for me, I just don't think WrestleMania or SummerSlam should ever be used as a continuation. That's why you have your other pay-per-views, I guess that's why I am.
SummerSlam's always been the continuation. Why do you think why did Triple H turn on Daniel Bryan after he beat John Cena?
I get it, but that's almost like the beginning of something new, though, too. It's a big plot. Becky's heel turn last year, or what was supposed to be a heel turn. Those kinds of things I'm totally okay with.
Yeah.
But it's SummerSlam when you have a double D or a double count out. I want something a little more definitive. Listen, even if Orton gets disqualified or something, I almost feel like it's a little bit something more, or maybe Kofi gets disqualified for attacking Orton and the referee throws it out. Maybe it gives us something a little more, even though I still probably would be sour on it. And this is me just I'm trying to play the part of the petty critical guy for you guys out there, just because, whatever. Because somebody, I guess, has to from time to time. But I'll admit, though that was something that I thought, I wish we would have got a little bit different of an ending. Honestly, Josh, only because it was SummerSlam. And so I had to kind of take that out of my head too, and just not think of it as SummerSlam. And that kind of sucks too. But at the same time, that way at least the story's told. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Let's talk about Charlotte and Trish Stratus, because that match was awesome.
It was awesome. I actually thought Trish was hurt.
No reports came out about her being hurt, thank God. So
I got some messed up discs. That's how my life is. I can't get up. Once I'm up, I move fine, but I just can't get up. So if that was the case, she slipped a couple discs or something, I would have been like, that fall just looked so brutal, dude. When she dropped down to the floor from the apron.
Right.
My 40-year-old body was like, I feel you, Trish. I know what it's like. Your body starts. You can't take the same bumps at 40 something that you did. I believe a 40-year-old when they're speaking. Okay. And I don't want to hear, well, not me. Okay. Talk to me when you're 40, when your bones are talking to you every morning.
Jeez. I got 15 more years to worry about that.
Yeah. I got a month and a half. No, 2 months, a little over 2 months. I'm sorry. 2.5 months.
Yes. Jeez. Having a match if that's going to be her last match, I don't know how you can go out a better way than that.
And it has to be this way, right? I mean, we saw this with Rock and Hogan in Toronto. So we're gonna kind of compare the two. I think it's a fair comparison too. So they're two of the biggest names in women's wrestling history. So I think it's a fair comparison. It kind of had that vibe to it, didn't it? Where you kind of knew the crowd was behind Trish, even though you probably should be pulling for the modern day era. Just like Hogan, everyone was behind Hogan, even though we probably should have been pulling for The Rock. Granted, they're in Trish's hometown. And there's a lot of different variables, guys. I'm very understanding about that, but I'm just go with me here on this one. But if anybody was upset that Charlotte went over, it can't be any other way, because then it's you have to have the new generation. You have to have them go over, because the athletes of today, no disrespect to the athletes back then, but yes, the athletes of today are better. And it's not because it's a lot of it is happenstance, right? If Trish was wrestling today, Josh, she would probably have a deeper move set. She would probably be a little bit better on, not she's bad on the mic, but I'm saying like it's different now than it was in 2005, and that's not a bad thing. Everything has to evolve, right?
I don't think a lot of people during that era were cherry picking every little thing on a wrestling show.
Oh yeah, we were. Oh, absolutely, dude. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Just because there wasn't Twitter doesn't.
I was too young to realize that.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad. You open any website chat room at that time, and it was just back and forth, just bashing. Yeah, I mean that criticisms have never gone away. And even before the internet, it was just in dirt sheet editorials and whatever, But I think that, I don't know, Josh, I just don't think that sometimes people take a stop and kind of think like, okay, wait a minute. We can't, today's athletes, we always say this about every other sport. Like, you're not going to have, I'm sorry, guys. If you think Babe Ruth would walk onto a baseball field today and hit the pitchers of today, you're wrong. The only thing Babe Ruth would still be able to hit is his wife. Oh, did that cut a little deep? Your hero, a little tainted? Oh, the alcoholic woman beater. Sorry. I'm on fire today, baby.
Keep it 100. Yes.
Let's just seriously, man. That dude is not hitting these 95-mile-an-hour sliders that these dudes are tossing. It's not happening. Not happening, The only consistent with Babe Ruth is he'd be an alcoholic that would beat his wife. That's the only consistent. Sorry.
By the way, I saw Broken Matt pop up in the SummerSlam watch-along thing. I watched it after the pay-per-view was over. Just to see his part. I didn't watch the whole thing. But it was pretty funny. I have a meeting with Mr. Meek Mahan. That dastardly fool. That's funny. Yeah, so I enjoyed SummerSlam. I felt like the show was good while I was transcribing it and then watching it again on Tuesday when I got back for the shop. I thought it was a good pay-per-view, and I've been consistent about this entire year. People could look through WWE through rose-colored glasses or subjective glasses, or whatever glasses you want to wear. But one thing is true: most of the pay-per-views from top to bottom have been really good this year.
I guess the one thing that
maybe with the exception of the Saudi Arabia show, I haven't found a pay-per-view this year that sucked.
I didn't watch the Saudi show, so I can't speak on that, but I will speak on how it used to be, Josh. And here's how it used to be. And again, not that this matters. We're nobodies that are talking into a microphone for something that we're passionate about that's fun to us, but perception a lot of times is reality. And I feel that, and this is just a personal opinion. It doesn't mean anything, but again, when it's your second biggest show of the year and it's known as the second biggest show, I just think it's a huge red flag that something's wrong, that you're ending the show at 10:30, and I'm not saying, listen, I know we complain when they go over, we complain when they're right on time, we complain when they're short, and I get all that, but I don't know if I can get behind knowing that SummerSlam was the shortest pay-per-view of the year. When on your pre-show you had fantastic matches and an Edge appearance where he got physical. Something we thought we'd never see again, right? And I know that might be picky, but at the same time, when the wrestling world is buzzing with people are watching New Japan, people are watching AEW, people are watching Progress, people are watching, insert name here. There's so many options out there. Whether it's fair or foul, I feel like you have to at least try to go to the 11 o'clock mark just to show that it's almost the perception, Josh, is going to be that they didn't have the firepower to go the distance on your second biggest show of the year, and whether it's fair or foul, that's going to be the perception.
Either that or they just didn't want to deal with another bitch fest of, here's a 5-hour pay-per-view and a 2-hour pre-show. And then
I think that was the problem.
So, I mean,
so the pre-show's 2 hours and the pay-per-view is 3.5 hours.
Well, you got to find an in-between though, too. And I don't know, maybe for shows, maybe television shows or pay-per-views, maybe you are left wanting more than, I can't wait for this to be over with already. No, it was kind of, from what I recognized as a kid growing up, like the main events were always awesome, but like half of the rest of the cards sucked.
Oh yeah, no, I can get behind that. Yeah.
Now you're getting more than your fill from not only men wrestling, but the females and this and that. So you gain more bang for your buck. Pardon your pun, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Right.
There was a time when I actually really started to feel it was like late 90s going into early 2000s. Not saying that era was better, but there was a lot of times where I look forward to SummerSlam more than I look forward to WrestleMania because you knew you were going to see something crazy, like Triple H's double turn in 1 year. You know, turn heel or turn face and went back heel. Oh, brother, that was a moment. You know what I mean? Like I remember just people being gutted, like their hearts were being ripped out of their chest, and Triple H was just showing it to them. You know, I mean, and there was just always something. I always felt like WrestleMania was geared more towards the corporate white collar fans, and SummerSlam they were able to play a little bit more and kind of gave us wrestling diehards a little bit more to play with. You know, I guess that maybe that would be that would be another critique. Is it's just it was hard for me to see a 2-hour pre-show with a lot of really incredible spots, matches, whatever, and then have SummerSlam end at 10:30. You know, if this was during the NFL season, maybe. And I hate to compare them to somebody else or whatever. If this was one of their B pay-per-views, if this was any, I don't know, man. I just think if SummerSlam, if you can't take it to at least 11 to where your pay-per-view is supposed to end. And not that I care, not that I'm saying this is, I'm not trying to paint the conspiracy theory thing, but it's just you're kind of giving people a reason to say, hey, that's why things aren't working. And I'm not going to be on that train. I'll admit, I wish that a couple things would have been bumped up just to alleviate that argument,
No, here's my thing though. Like from my point of view, I actually enjoy the fact that they pushed the start of the pay-per-view an hour beforehand. Where it starts at 7 your time instead of 8. I'm gonna watch wrestling no matter how long the show is, but and I'm speaking selfishly especially for what I was going through that week.
A great point though. I like this.
I was the happiest person on earth that SummerSlam ended when it did. I enjoyed the pay-per-view and the fact that I was still able to enjoy my night after all the crazy stuff that I was already doing that week.
Oh yeah, because it would have been done at 9:30 your time, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be more like this, especially during the fall, during the other pay-per-views. I'm not. Maybe Survivor Series will end at 11. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but. How many complaints did people have? Oh my God, WrestleMania was 10 hours this year.
No, yeah, no, I definitely get those criticisms too. Not that I get it. I bet I understand it, and I think it's warranted if that's how somebody feels. But let me ask this, Josh. Say you finally got to go to did you go to SummerSlam yet?
No, I've never been to one yet.
That's the only one out of I call it the Big Five now, but it's the only one out of the Big Five that I haven't been to. But if this would have been the year I finally got to go to SummerSlam, and it was like it was over at 10:30, and it was like and I would have been a little upset if I would have paid a couple $100 for that ticket or whatever the case may have been or whatever. Thinking about that fan, I did and especially because it's a small arena, it's not a stadium crowd, so tickets were probably a little bit more on the premium side of the pricing layers. I do think that they would have felt like they were shortchanged a little bit. And listen, for us at home, it doesn't really matter. It honestly doesn't, because we're paying $10 a month, if that. We're paying $10 a month, and we're getting all this content. And Josh, you're right. There really isn't much for me to complain about, because they want us to feel like it's anything can happen. It can end at any time. It kind of gives it that feel of like you just never know when it's going to happen. But I think if you're there and you're paying money for SummerSlam, you were probably a little upset that it ended early, or that maybe so much was on the pre-show that you might have missed. You know what I mean? Again, a 2-hour pre-show and only a 3.5-hour pay-per-view, to me, that doesn't balance itself too well.
There's one thing for SummerSlam we haven't mentioned yet, and I wanted to save it for the most requested and popular segment in all of pro wrestling podcasting. So we got to talk about The Fiend, man.
We do got to talk about The Fiend, and I know the little one here is going to be very, very, very pumped up to talk about The Fiend. Real quick before she gets in the room here, because I'm texting her so she comes down. I make her feel like a superstar. She stays in the other room like it's a green room, and then we call her out at a green room, so she comes on, gets in front of the microphone, that kind of stuff. or she's just taking a dog out. So, it's either one. But I'm going to make it sound real fancy because we're on a podcast and everybody got to make them sound more important than what they are. So she's waiting in the green room, baby. She's a superstar. She ain't got time for us right now, and she'll be here in a second. But yeah, we are going to talk about The Fiend because that, I believe, was something that we all could get behind as far as it goes.
Really quick, I get what you're saying for the fans that bought the ticket for SummerSlam. I have no sympathy, however, for the people that went to the Raw in Toronto after. For those jackasses that are chanting "Thank you, Sasha," while Natalya was talking about her father, the anniversary of his death, you guys can go screw yourselves. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
ridiculous. I know everybody was excited to see Sasha. I was excited to see her too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's real cool. The what's and this and that while she's kind of promo that just irked me off.
Here's what I took from it. Whenever she was coming down, I looked at AJ said something. I looked at AJ and said, listen, her extensions just aren't working for her tonight. What? Little did I know it was a wig. That's the beauty of not being on social media. I was talking to a friend today and he was like, oh, dude, I follow her on social media. I saw that she had blue hair. Well, that's what works for me because I don't follow many people on social media and I'm not on most social media sites. So I don't know what color people's hair are other than Mike Rome going silver for a day. Because I just saw Graves said something about it. But by the way, one last thing before I get the superstar in here. Graves, I know you're not listening to this, but come on, man. It's been a couple weeks. Where's the Tool references? The time is ticking. The album is coming. They're on streaming services. I need some Tool references, man. We need it. Sterling, we know that you got some Maynard stuff hidden up in there.
Man, he was getting a little feisty on the pre-show, especially the stuff with Alexa Bliss dressed up as the Toy Story Buzz Lightyear. He was going off on that, man. That's part of my childhood, man. You need to calm your tits.
Can we also stop with people saying, well, she's just doing that because of their affiliations? No, or she's just a big Disney fan. Maybe that's it.
Can we let a wrestler be a wrestler?
Thank you. We always talk about how WWE is too strict with their wrestlers, right? So when they finally get to do cool stuff, like whether it was Ricochet's Nightwing, or whether it was her doing Buzz Lightyear, or whatever. When Seth Alexander did Harley and his girl did Joker, that kind of stuff. Right. So cool, man. That's so cool to me. There doesn't always have to be something business related behind it, That's neither here nor there. All right, I think the superstar is here, so we are ready to go.
Please provide the intro, good brother.
Yes. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, here is the most popular, your favorite, and the only wrestling segment that matters in sports entertainment / pro wrestling today. Wrestling Through the Eyes of a 9-year-old, starring AJ Daley. How are you doing today, AJ?
Hello, I am doing amazing. And today,
how was the intro? How was the lead-in?
The intro was very well. Thank you very much. Well. I think you just need to do it a little bit longer.
A little bit longer?
Practice.
All right, Shane. All right, Shane. Here we go.
Come on, Hamilton.
I was going to say, yeah, this is now I can see what I'm going to be doing next time I cook. Tomorrow when I'm cooking dinner, I'm going to be sitting here having to practice this right in front of her.
Yeah.
All right, so now we did talk about most of SummerSlam, but we saved the Fiend.
Well, yeah, I'm going to talk about the Fiend.
Okay.
And then we're going to go off of SummerSlam. Okay. And then we're going to go back on it
let's do this. Catch us up with anything SummerSlam that you wanted to talk about before we kind of collectively talk about the Fiend.
Okay, so this will actually be not on SummerSlam.
Okay.
Surprisingly. It is Sasha Banks' comeback.
Yeah, we actually just got done talking about it.
Really?
Yep. So what did you think about Sasha Banks' comeback?
I like Sasha Banks' comeback. Mm-hmm. It seemed like that she was going to help Natalya, comfort her, but instead she basically beat her up and had a new hair color. And you even said she's got really bad extensions
Thanks.
in.
Like I didn't already throw myself under the bus. You had to make sure you tossed me under there a second time.
And then she took off the wig, and I was like, well, that's why you said that, because she has wig, not even extensions.
Mm-hmm.
I did notice that they were meticulously placed right in front of the VR cameras the entire time for that.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey.
Now, do you like Sasha being back?
Yes.
Do you like heel Sasha over babyface Sasha?
Yes, for sure.
Now, it looks like Sasha's going to be feuding with your girl, the man, Becky Lynch.
Okay.
You
you
like it?
I always pick Becky.
Well, obviously, but I mean,
I like it.
You do like it? Good.
Yes.
Good deal.
Yes.
Good deal.
It's one of those feuds.
Man versus the boss. I like it.
It's one of those feuds that the fans win.
Right? Correct.
Yes. I was gonna say this, man. Dude, man, I was getting a crap load of notifications on Twitter when she came out. You know, I haven't outly gone to fully bury Sasha all the time on this show, but
you kind of do.
Occasionally, not all the time.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Whenever I listen to it.
All right.
If I listen to it, you do.
Oh, through the eyes of a 9-year-old, through the ears of a 9-year-old. There you go. There you go.
I'm throwing everybody under the bus today.
You're just chucking people. This is like
I'm
midget tossing, but we're grown men. And you're just throwing
I'm the boss today.
Is it politically incorrect to mention midget tossing now in 2019?
No.
It
was real popular in the early 2000s.
It's awesome.
Oh,
Little person tossing. Is that better?
I think that's worse. I think that's worse than
micro-human tossing? That's bad. Huh? That's not a good one. Okay, we'll skip that one.
Definitely something bad.
We'll skip that one.
Oh, man. Anything else you wanted to mention before we get into the Fiend, AJ?
I want to go straight to the Fiend.
Okay.
Let's fiend it up.
Yep. So I also wanted to point out his entrance for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I loved his entrance. I loved the little lantern. How was his head?
Yep.
Right.
His old head, I guess we should say, because he's a different person now.
Mm-hmm.
But then that means he had to cut off his own head, which is kind of weird. But we'll just forget about that part. And so I thought the entrance was really cool. I liked that they tweaked the music.
Oh, so good.
Yes, I loved it. I really liked his outfit. I liked how he kept the old Bray Wyatt type theme, but he made it the Fiend themed. And Fiend and themed sound really weird together. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, it's the Fiend and the themed. So, and I also really wanted to point out that Finn Balor is definitely cosplaying as the Angel.
That's right. It was Angels and Demons.
Angels
all
and
white.
Demons. Well, more like Angels and Fiends.
Yeah, well, I get it because he'll come back as the demon. Well played.
Yeah.
Well played, stickler for facts.
Speaking of being a stickler, how about the Finn Balor OC segment they did on the pre-show? We forgot to bring that up.
I didn't even see it.
We didn't see it.
Dude, I was watching last year's SummerSlam for the longest time going, yo, this is a crazy-ass pre-show.
Until I pulled up YouTube and said, no, it isn't, because Buddy Murphy's being beat up currently.
Why are they doing that? Why are they just keep showing last year's? I thought there was a pre-show.
I know.
Yeah, so.
And then I pulled up YouTube and I was like, Dad, we're not watching the pre-show.
We don't got to worry about those things.
Yes.
Excitement, adventure, a Jedi crave, not these things.
And the Edge. Edge was on the pre-show.
Loved Edge. I'm so glad we turned it on right as Edge was making his entrance.
Yes. Yes.
Finn was Finn was putting his gear on the back, right? And AJ, not this AJ, obviously, AJ and the OC walk up to Finn and they're like, "What's up, good brother?" I have a horrible Southern accent. I'm sorry, guys. Just gonna throw that out there. They're talking about just like catching up and this and that. And they're talking about, oh my God, how can Finn Balor fear the Fiend, right? And they're like, hey, little brother. They didn't call him good brother. They called him little brother, which I thought was interesting because Finn was in the Bullet Club before AJ was. So
maybe I'm AJ Styles. Just you guys just don't know.
I think I would know. But was Balor? I don't think Balor and Styles were never in at the same time, though. Correct?
No,
I didn't think so. Okay.
no, they weren't. Finn came to WWE before AJ joined the group.
That's what I thought.
That's what I remember. Anyways, they're like, "Hey, little brother, if you need help, just let us know when." And then they threw up this little. Yeah, so they teased it on the pre-show, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
That's a lot on the pre-show. That is a lot on the pre-show.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
What else from SummerSlam do you want to pull out?
Me, let's see. Trish and what's her name? Who was it? Charlotte. Charlotte. Yeah. I couldn't remember the name. Charlotte. I want to talk about Trish and Charlotte. That was a pretty good match.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I think it was cool because Trish came back for another match.
You finally got to see Trish.
Yes.
The whole time you were bashing her because claiming she was old. Now, is she really that old?
She's old.
Dude, she's my age, man.
No, she ain't.
Yes, she is.
She's like 1,000. You're 9.
Stop with this.
No, you're 3.
Yeah, you're being goofy.
I don't know why I keep staring into the microphone.
I have no idea either.
By the way, guys, what did you think about Bray not being on Raw or SmackDown this week?
I thought it was awesome.
I thought it was awesome that he wasn't on either show?
Yes.
You know what? I like it because you don't want to give us too much too quick.
Right.
You know, especially with this kind of character, oversaturation early could really harm this character.
Yes.
And you want to heal this character, not harm this character.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that's I guess where I'm at with that. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
You never know when he's gonna strike, so.
Correct.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, by the way, shout out to Code Orange. They're getting a lot of downloads for this song right now.
Yeah, they are.
So.
Why is it on like streaming services now?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
Hey, do you know what's been streamed more though? Tool. You're welcome.
What's the exact launch date for this new album?
The 30th. So we got Tool on the 30th and we got All Out on the 31st.
What?
It's a good weekend.
Yes, it is.
You're gonna be listening to Tool just as much as I listen to 21 Pilots, Dad.
Well, it's not. It's a 90-minute album, so yeah, I'm gonna be listening to it.
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half long. It's a movie. I'll be listening to a movie.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll be listening to it a lot. I just had the feeling of it.
Really quick, I wanted to ask this really quick. I got a message from Derek while SummerSlam is going on. I didn't get to respond to that after the pay-per-view was over though. There's too much typing going on. I can't be too distracted by obsolete views. You know what I mean? So he asked, how would people be interested in a 15-minute edition of the Thoughts of Jericho? Adam, any interest in that or no?
None whatsoever.
I will be interested to see what music he plays. If it's gonna be a different kind of like Killer's music.
It would just be him talking for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
If I want to listen to NPR, I just put on NPR. I mean, it's just if I want to dry, pointless banter that goes nowhere with no personality, I would put on NPR.
Yeah.
AJ, what else from wrestling stood out to you this week, good or bad?
Let's see. Let me think. I don't know.
Too busy playing with your phone. See, distractions.
No, I'm thinking. You know what, Dad? You mentioned something.
What's that?
You mentioned something, Dad.
From our SmackDown?
Yeah.
Or from like
good or bad?
KO. Period.
Yeah.
I'm digging what they're still doing with KO. Listen, and you know what? I had a gripe the other, and I talked about this when I did the Masked Comedian X-Cast a couple weeks ago. Josh, I meant to bring it up last week on the show. Obviously, I had a weird week last week, so I didn't. There's certain things I forgot to bring up. Yeah. But listen, I kind of brought up. I love Shane, but I am very much against people that wear T-shirts with the buttons on the top, you know, like the couple buttons, like the Bluto shirt from Popeye, you know.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he's not doing that now, but he's doing my other pet peeve. The long sleeved like T-shirt style material just with no buttons. Motherfucker, get your buttons right. Pardon my language. But the buttons should be on the long sleeve shirt, not the short sleeve shirt, man. Come on.
I don't think
Shane, you're better than this.
As long as you don't slip like 80 million times, I don't think it's a problem on a kid's show.
Shane, you are better than this.
By the way, I know a lot of people say that Shane sweats a lot. What I noticed is that Shane turns purple 5 minutes into a match.
I don't know what his blood pressure is, but you know what? I bet you it's not better than most.
Better than most.
Yes.
I bet I'm better than you, Dad.
99% oxygen.
I'm probably 100,009% oxygen.
Probably.
I don't know.
Shane Meek Mahan.
You got anything else from Raw or SmackDown you thought was good?
Drag my B?
Yeah. This is your segment. Yeah, we're talking. No, the other 9-year-old that's in here. Yeah, we're talking about you. Pretty soon we're gonna have to say this 30 hours of a 10-year-old, but for right now it's still 30 hours of a 9-year-old. So yes, you.
Yeah, me.
What?
I don't know.
All right. Well, what else about the Fiend did you like? Did you like the moveset, the little neck snap move that he did?
Yes, I liked the moveset. I also noticed
neck snap was kind of ridiculous, but
yeah,
whatever.
I also noticed that the mask was different.
I don't know if it was. I thought it was, but maybe we just can't always see.
It was.
It looked, well, you didn't notice it until I said something, but I don't know if it was just the way the strobe was hitting it. It just looked like the mask, and I'm probably wrong. It was probably the same mask. It just looked like it was smiling a little bit more. Yeah. Maybe it was just because of the angle it was at and with the strobe and everything that way. But it would have been cool if there was like two masks, and in the interim of him going to the top of the stage, he slips one on, slips one off, and the mask just looks a little bit different, almost like that's one soul that the Fiend was able to nab.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention Braun Strowman coming out at the end of Raw. Where do you think they're going with that?
I don't know, to be honest.
Well, probably United States Championship or something, or
yeah.
I saw AJ put a tweet out. He said that he's going to put his U.S. title on the line against Strowman next week. So.
Oh, okay.
With that, I guess you were right.
When the OC will get involved, and then Laguna Beach will have a show again, and then it'll be a downward spiral. Yeah, I'm linking them too. That's a callback.
Yeah, it's a throwback. It's making me feel old.
Yes. Yeah.
You're so old. Of course. Everybody is so old nowadays. Everybody's young till they die. When they die, then they're old because they're old.
All right, life lessons from someone that's not even double digits. Then settle down.
I'm gonna be double digits soon.
Yeah, you got a lot of miles to walk before you can speak life lessons.
AJ, anything else you wanted to mention?
You're still a young buck in this industry.
No, I think that's it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Anything else?
All right. Well, famous last words. Sign us off, or sign your segment off then.
Okay. Well, bye. Good night. And bye.
All right. There we go.
I'll be on next week. You guys will hear me next week since you don't see me.
Correct.
It's
the last thing you need to be on is wrestling video right now. I already don't like doing live shows, so it's, it is what it is. There we go.
All right. Really quick before we head out this week, I wanted to tell everybody, go check out the new Slipknot album, We Are Not Your Kind. 3 or 4 songs that really stood out to me. Birth of the Cruel was really, really good. Unsainted, the one that they played for NXT TakeOver Toronto, which was really good. Trying to remember the other one. My Pain was a good song as well. And I forgot the name of the 4th one. But just overall, from top to bottom, I thought Slipknot had a really good release for their album. They got a tour going on right now. So I really enjoyed listening to that.
In Pittsburgh, I think this week maybe.
Yeah, I think he said that on Bust. Corey Taylor was a guest on Busted Open this week. So yeah, he's coming out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's this week. We got Korn and Alice in Chains in Pittsburgh this week too. So.
Yep. I can't wait to listen to this new Tool album. I got to get in the groove of listening to albums again. You know.
Yeah. Well, Tool, you kind of got to listen to the album. Not to sound like Adam Jones, but you kind of got to listen to the album.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, there's a couple albums that I haven't listened to yet, and I need to give a chance to. Not that I'm not going to, but like Dirty Heads came out with a new one. 311s I listened to a little bit, but didn't give it the airplay that it deserves yet. Slipknot's new one. Looks like Korn got a new one coming out. There's a lot of albums coming out. It's just I've been so submerged in Tool. And just Tool and more Tool. So more Tool. Screw the cowbell. Give me Tool.
Tool. All right, folks. We're going to put a ribbon on this bad boy. I want to thank you guys so much for checking out episode 168 of the Hoots podcast. Again, sorry if maybe my audio's not as great this week. I don't know what happened with my mic this week. It just threw me off before we recorded the show today, but it was a lot of fun as always. Thank you, brother, coming on as always.
Josh, thank you. Thank you to everyone listening. You know how it goes. There's a million things you could be doing right now. We are very, very humbled that you're spending a little bit of time with us. And if you are playing fantasy football this year, your drafts are probably coming soon. So start studying, start practicing your drafts. Season's right around the corner, man.
We got more Hard Knocks episodes to recap in the coming weeks, and also Glow. I gotta
start watching that.
Yeah, gotta get into Glow. For AJ, Miss AJ Daley, and for the Clown Prince, I'm Joshie. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast, the Who's Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts from. We know that you have a gazillion other things to do, so even if you listen to the show for 2 minutes, etc., we appreciate it for your support. So thank you guys for always checking out the podcast. If you want to see any of my transcriptions, you can check out ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com or LordsOfPain.net. And that's pretty much it. So for the Clown Prince, I'm Joshie. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. We know All Out's going to be here, so we'll get into more AEW conversations. So hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk to you guys next week. Peace.